Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make an animated overlay such as the one that you saw at the beginning of this video. And that is going to be what I'm making. That is going to be at the beginning of the video. So what you see here is just a little, maybe you're able to see it, maybe not, but it's just this little white circle. Nothing big, it's just a kind of a face cam. If I go and put a solid color underneath it and I change that to white, you're able to see that that's the face cam border. Nothing big, but you can do this with pretty much anything. So what I'm going to be doing for this one is I'm going to be having this monolith face cam border. This is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Inspired. I made this a while ago. I just didn't really ever animate it. You can see that there's this stuff. It's meant to kind of just simulate some fluid. I don't do this very often, but I just wanted to make a quick guide video, and just to kind of help anybody who would like some help on this stuff. So I'm going to go back over to where I have all my files for this stuff, a little animated monolith, and I'm just going to put that right in the center over there. So right here, this is how it would base look if I left it like that. But the way I wanted to do is I want to make it where every now and then that just goes in a circular motion over. So right now it's at 5 seconds. You can just go and select them all and drag them to whatever time you'd like them to take. And you can do this for, like I said, anything else as well. If you're making like an animated background that has a moving background and you want it to loop or something, you can have it on a certain time that it's moving, and then it just loops in OBS by setting in the properties of the media file to make it where it's looping. So then right here, you'll see that it's kind of bland right here. And as you play it, it just pops up. You don't really want that to happen. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go into cropping. And right here, you can see that this allows you to change how it is cropped. So you can see that I can move it in this direction, but that's not exactly where I'd want it to be done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cropping it with over to the middle area, and be cropping the top as well so that it goes exactly from where I want it to. Okay, so now that this part is done, you can just go a few seconds or however long you want, press space, kind of think in your head, okay, this is around how long I'd want it to go, or you can have a specific time thought up. And with the crop right, I'm just going to kind of make it a little bit less until it reaches that corner. Then around the same amount, I'm going to move the left crop a bit more to make it look like it's just one piece of animation, one piece of fluid going around. I'm going to go and decrease the crop on the top area to keep it around what I'd assume is the same distance. Go a bit farther down, and just keep doing that until you've finished the amount that you want it to be done on. If you do try to play it back, like right now it's kind of laggy for me, but if you try to play it back and you get lost, there are these arrows that allow you to go to the different areas of the edits. And then for the final amount, I'm just going to change it to where it looks like there's nothing there at all. So right here on the crop left, increase that until it's invisible. Then what you can actually do is you can just go ahead, take that little animation area and just delete that. Then if you wanted to have like a trailing end or whatever where it has extra time after it's done it, so right away it starts after 1 second, does it, then between that there's around a 4-second gap, and then it loops over, so it's a total of 5 seconds again before it does it. Now I'd recommend making it longer so it doesn't get distracting, or you can always put a gradient color so you can make 2 of those backgrounds or whatever and have them 2 different colors and slowly crossfade them by using these, because this allows for crossfades. I'd be right around here, adding some animation in the transform. Transform allows you to actually move the object, not just cropping it like how it is, moving and changing the zoom. So what I had done earlier to make it go here, kind of the same exact thing. So what I would want it is on the last one to be there, so just make it easier, I'm going to put that right there so that it'll automatically go right back. From here, I can just make it smaller, and then over here, I can move it to this side so that when it pops back up, it'll look like it went all the way around. Just need to adjust that area so you can see that over time it would be going, and if I remove this, you can't see any of that right there. So now that I've done this, if you go ahead and look at the animation, you can see that it kind of spills on top. You can do this if you want, but for me, I'd prefer to look like it's behind. So now you probably want a background that isn't white or green, because that can slightly mess it up, just not quite as good of quality. So what you can always just do is go and delete that solid color. Now you can see that there's this right here. And now that it's like this, you can go ahead and just make a new compound clip, which if you right click, it's going to be right on top of there. Just make sure that you select all of the pieces. You can name it if you want. Usually for something like this, I don't, though it probably is better. And if I go ahead and play it back, you can see that it would take a tiny bit of time, but it's not too fast, not too slow. You can see that it would take a tiny bit of time, and it does seem like it would take a bit longer around the top. So you can either go back into it by open in timeline, and you can go ahead and adjust those areas. But since I'm just making this video really quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and double click timeline, which will take you back to the main timeline area with the compound clip. So then you want to save it, of course. I should have done that a lot of times earlier, because if you don't, then you might lose everything that you just worked on. So frame rate 24 is good. You don't need to add a crazy frame rate. So the format you'd want to use for this is a QuickTime format, but it is not in single clip. You'd want to go to individual clips, which is the reason that compound clip is needed. Because if you were rendering from the other one, that would be 3 separate clips that were rendered, but you just want it on one. So the compound clips, put them all together, and to double check that they do have a transparent background, you can go into this area. It'll be on the compound clip, and you can just kind of see right here that this is the checkered pattern background, which means that it is transparent. So in individual clips, you want to have it on QuickTime, but not H.264. You want to have it on GoPro Cineform. And it's going to default to YUV 10-bit format for the color. What you want to do is change that to RGB 16-bit. From there, you're going to just go and press Export Alpha and keep it on pre-multiplied. There's a bunch of other stuff, but you don't need to mess with those to render a little animated overlay. So if you go and press Add to Render Queue, and then just choose where you want to put it. So for now, I'll just put it on my desktop, and then I'll render. So it can take some time to render, and it obviously depends on how fast your computer is, what stuff is running on it. So if you're editing, I'd recommend closing everything that you don't need. So it is completed, and then you've already seen it, but I'll just play it again, and that will be the end of the video. Thanks for watching.